What's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to the Winning Drive, the prime time edition. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers, pleased to be joined by fellow lifetime Longhorn, the young prodigy himself, CJ Vogel, and of course, joined by our own coach, former high school football coach at Vernon Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan, also played college football athlete, Christian coach there as well, and was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. These days, you can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own coach, Coach Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach?
I'm just trying not to say a bad word.
Coach, trying to get.
Yeah, my laptop's not working right, so I'm on my phone and it keeps flipping over. So you just be patient with me. How y'all doing today, man? Hey, another game week, baby. Got a chance to redeem ourselves.
Hey, that's why we need a coach on right there. That's exactly how you need to be next week. All right, you can't be thinking about what happened last week, good or bad. And it was certainly way more bad than good. We still got to talk about that a little bit, of course. So we'll get coaches' thoughts. I haven't gotten coaches' thoughts about the massacre up there in Athens. So we'll get into that a little bit. Also, the big news on the 40 acres today about Anthony Hill. CJ was there. We'll talk to CJ about what he heard from Sark at the media availability. We'll hear from Steve Sarkisian. He was asked a very interesting question by Kirk Bowles of Crawl.com. I thought it was good. What's up, CB? And I thought his answer was It was interesting. It was an intriguing response by Sark. So we'll get to that too coming up a little bit later on. But of course, your questions, comments, whatever you guys want to talk about, throw it out there. We'll try to address as many questions and comments as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line, and you can interrupt the show at any time. All right, before we talk Anthony Hill and get into the media availability with Steve Sarkisian, Coach, I have not gotten your thoughts on the Texas-Georgia game. Please, from a coach's perspective, I've been waiting to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, excuse me just a second. That's what I got to say. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
Oh, man.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, we got out coached, we got out schemed, we got out hustled, we got out hit. And we got beat by a very disciplined team. And so all those things, I mean, I'm not saying anything probably anybody hadn't said, since Saturday night, but, it's just in every phase of the game, the obvious holding call on the great punt return, and it was kind of almost, there was almost a comedy to their punter after that because he was not going to let one get returned again. So as a result, we got some pretty good field position, which we typically couldn't do much with. But, the discipline, the penalties, and I know, you watch the film, there's some plays that Georgia maybe was holding and didn't get called on. But, that's not what lost us the game. What lost us the game is that they came with a chip on their shoulder ready to play, and we came and started off okay, but we were not ready for the arsenal they were going to throw at us. And the onside kick was just genius.
It was.
I mean, and the sad thing about it is, Sark said, yeah, we prepared for that this week. We knew it could be a possibility. Well, it didn't look like anybody was prepared for it, And then, of course, penalties on fourth down. And just undisciplined is a thing that seems to be the common theme among every phase of the game for us was being undisciplined, and we just got out coached. But still, we had a chance to pull back into the game, and momentum seemed to be on our side. And then Kirby Smart and his staff, and I thought Bobo I thought it was a great game. I mean, I thought their offensive coordinator called a great game. He had us schemed. He had us double covering guys and leaving another guy wide open for a touchdown. I mean, he just schemed us, and you can call it mental break, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. The fault lies with the Texas staff in either not having their guys be disciplined enough or getting confused on routes. And who knows? Georgia may have run stuff that we've never seen before, but still, Rod, you can attest to this. Defensively, you have rules, and you have I mean, there's rules, and no matter what they do, you should have it covered if everybody is correct. But of course, the object of the offense when you're out scheming someone is to try to put what they think you're trying to do defensively into get you in a bind. And that's what they did to us when it mattered most. When they had to have the big plays, they were able to out scheme us. And so it is disappointing. It's just disappointing. And then to top it all off, it's kind of like, you get beat in a fight and then you're trying to get up and the fight's over with and everybody's going home, and the guy that beat you up turns around and kicks you right in the ribs again in the press in the press conference, which Kirby did to us. And it was just the icing on the cake to a beautiful performance by the Georgia Bulldogs, and taking advantage of that recruiting moment that he had to say what he said, which, everybody talks about the fact that Kirby and Sark are buddies, but it ain't winning war when it's on the battlefield. I mean, no. you don't want to leave any doubt, and I think I don't blame him for saying that. I would have said the same thing. His job is to help them win and get the best players they can get by any means legally possible, and he took advantage of that opportunity in the press conference and kicked us in the ribs while we were down, and we've got to overcome that somehow.
Yeah, the quote that the coach is responding to from Kirby Smart: a lot of these kids want a check; they don't want physicality. If you have the check and no physicality, you end with nothing. You're not just getting checks at our place; we're hitting people. That's a Suge Knight moment, guys. That is like
what did they have? They had our backs, our ball carriers. We broke 3 tackles, maybe all night.
They forced the Texas offense forced 2 missed tackles, I believe, the entire game.
Two
missed tackles.
2.
Yeah.
I mean, Bijan would make 4 miss in one play.
Yeah, true.
I mean, come on. That's a horrible stat. It's a horrible stat, and it's very telling about where we are offensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Kirby Smart's on a tear right now. Another quote he had recently was he was asked about players leaving the program because of how physical the toll is and his demands are as a coach. He said, we try to get them players on schedule when they want to leave because they're not physical. That means they're probably going to a place that's not physical. He's calling out.
Yeah.
He just called. So his messages are for Sark in Texas, but I think he's also calling out other places too, man. He's on the tear, and why not? Why not? All right, let's get to the media availability. I guess the big news coming out, CJ, of the media availability was the news about Anthony Hill. I'm sure Sark was asked about it. What did he say about Anthony Hill and the injury and his status?
Yeah, Sark didn't give a lot about Anthony Hill. Of course, the report that came out was that there was a bit of a hand injury suffered during the game. Of course, Ant had the interception. He finished the game, played 62 of 66 snaps. But as we've come to learn, sometimes those injuries can mount up, or at least you start to feel them after a game like that. So he said he's optimistic about Anthony Hill playing on Saturday against Arkansas. He didn't really make any definitive statement when it came to what his injury is or how it might affect him moving forward. So leaving a lot up to be found out on Wednesday when the injury report is released. And, as Sark does with injuries, he didn't really disclose a whole lot as to what happened, how it happened, and majority of the details that go into that.
That interception Anthony Hill had was amazing. Like it was. Coach, hell, now I'm thinking about it. I don't know if that was a better play by a Texas player against Georgia than the Anthony Hill interception. Now I'm thinking about it.
Well, I tell you what, yeah, you're right about that. But I mean, he dropped some passes, but Ryan Wingo had a pretty sweet catch himself.
Mm-hmm.
That we talking about the one where he was like spinning around.
Yes, just nice. High pointed it and just another inch and he wouldn't have been able to get it.
Yeah, no, that was a great catch.
And that's what's frustrating. We see those plays from him,
mm-hmm.
And just make all your freaking catches. The focus and concentration he had on that, he needs to have every time he's a receiver on a play. I mean, that's frustrating. I understand he's got an injury on his hand, but boy, it didn't bother him on that reception. But I will agree that was a great interception by Ant, and it was a great play by him, and it could have been a great momentum shift in the game.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's thank our first sponsor, our friends at Von Lane, before we dive into some of the super chats and get into some other topics. Thank you to our friends over at Von Lane. We appreciate them being part of the Owen, Texas football family and sponsoring the winning drive. Folks, it's a busy fall. We know there's a lot going on. You got football games to get to. I'm sure there are concerts that you have to get to, different festivals happening. Why waste hours at the airport or stuck behind the wheel? With Von Lane, you just walk into a hotel terminal. You check in within minutes and you're on board. No TSA, no hassle. Settle into one of just 22 oversized first class seats. You'll stretch out, recline, and enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi snacks and drinks. If you want a beer or a cocktail, my friends over at Von Lane have you covered. Travel right now open through December, and right now you have the holidays coming up, so perfect time for you to make those holiday plans for game days, concerts, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Check out Von Lane. That's vonlane.com, VONLANE.com. Use the code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride with Von Lane. Von Lane, your private jet on wheels. Thank you very much to our friends over at Von Lane. All right, let's dive into the super chats here,
hey,
guys.
I want to say one more thing, Rod. My last two thoughts.
Go ahead, please.
On the game.
No more.
One of them is, why is Mosley ever out of the game?
Completely
He should
agree.
never come off the field.
Yeah.
Parker Livingston, very limited targets. One, maybe two.
Yeah, I think like two, maybe. I'm trying.
He's one of the most sure-handed receivers on the team.
Because one was
he should be your third down go-to guy. And yet no production. And that's not even to mention abandoning the running game after the first drive. I mean, okay, I'm through.
The running game thing, I do kind of get, because I believe, because Jeff and I were talking about this actually on this live stream yesterday, and Jeff made a good point. And I think Sark felt the blowout coming, because think about that defense, right? Last year, I believe, and you're a coach, you can tell me if I'm wrong and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Sark is a play caller last year. I believe that he was probably a little bit more settled and calm about the way he would call a game, or at least he would be a little bit more confident in sticking with a game plan and being bullish about it, because he knew his defense was they always had his back. That defense was going to hold them. That defense will keep us in every game. That defense will make enough plays, sudden change, goal line, the red zone, don't matter. That D was tough last year. And so Sark could be stubborn about a game plan and stick to it. I think in this game, he saw his defense struggling. The busted coverages early on. He saw what Bobo was doing. He's an offensive guy. He went, Bobo's got my guys in a blender out there. And they ain't no way I can be stubborn about this run game, because they going to score again. That was just guaranteed. They was going to score. I mean, anybody else doubt they were going to score again? They was going to score again. And it was mostly because of the secondary. I'm not talking about that. The rush defense, that dam didn't break until much later, after the onside kick. And then that's when the dam broke pretty much. The spirit pretty much was broken of the defense.
Rod, when do you get out of this soft zone coverage and start running some man? We're so vulnerable on the edges. All they got to do is break one tackle because they're playing so soft. And then the middle of the field is just like an open playground to do whatever you want.
That's why the Anthony Hill interception was so impressive, because he literally dropped back to proper depth, reacquired the target, right? Identified the crosser, then went back to the QB, and then went up and made the interception. Like that was next level. And that's basically what they need all the linebackers to do. Easier said than done, by the way. That is not easy, but they need them to do more of that. So, like Coach said, the middle won't be just wide open. But it was mostly about the coverage bust, though, Coach. I think that's what your secondary. You had way too many technique errors and coverage busts.
Leverage issues.
Yeah, leverage issues, man. Guys don't know where their help is.
And that's what Sark mentioned in the press conference today, he said, look, and he didn't want to single out Cade Phillips, but he said for a young guy with a learning curve, you have to know where your help is. On the whip route touchdown to Noah Thomas, you have help to the inside with Jelani McDonald sitting right there. There's no reason to bite on the in-breaking route, knowing if you give up the outside and that's where the ball cuts back to, you've now lost your leverage, and evidently that's exactly what happened. So, it's leverage that's probably not being emphasized enough, to your point, Rod. And look, Coach, I'm with you, because I don't know how many more times the staff can sit there and watch a free 6 or 7 yards given to a wide open wide receiver on a 5-yard hitch route or out route with no one within 10 yards of him. There was multiple times Texas was in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 15 defensively, and it just didn't matter because Georgia said, oh, you're giving me 5, we'll take 7, because we know that you're not going to make the first tackle initially. And that's how they stayed ahead of the chains. And then, opportunistic down and distances basically the entire day.
Yeah,
which makes me think that Dwayne Akina does not have much say in what the secondary is running. Either that, or he doesn't believe in his players, to be able to handle those type receivers one-on-one. And I understand that too, but that may be very, very well what it is. But if we don't have the guys that can run that coverage, then why aren't we getting guys that can run that coverage?
That's a great
The portal's
point.
got thousands of guys in it. Why can't we get guys to run the coverage that we need to run for our defense?
It's a great point, Coach, because, I played under Coach Akina. Coach Akina loves man coverage. Even when he was at Arizona last stop before Texas, he's synonymous with man coverage. Texas does not play a lot of man coverage. It hasn't played a ton of man coverage. So, but that's interesting. Maybe you need to simplify it for the guys so you don't get so many issues with coverage busts, and guys don't have to read and diagnose route concepts as much. Just, hey man, you got that cat. Pretty simple.
It's the same old saying. You keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to keep getting what you've gotten.
Yep.
Nothing's going to change. It's not going to change against Arkansas, and it's not going to change against A&M if we don't change what we're doing. It's going to be the same result. They're not idiots. It's taking candy from a baby. Sorry.
Yeah. No, Arkansas is going to die.
I'm through with my rant, maybe. I don't know.
No, it's a good rant because Arkansas has got an offense. I don't think most people had to watch them because it's a bad team, but the offense is nice. And Taylor Green is score. Yeah, they can score some points, especially if you're going to be, not executing and having lapses on the back end. All right, let's hit some super chats. Then we'll hear from Sark coming up. Oh, actually, before we do all that, before we do the super chats, I believe my man Stevie Lee is here. So let's get to Stevie, and then I promise we'll get to the super chats and the questions. Lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee, my former teammate. Stevie, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are y'all?
Well, we've been better.
Yeah, I felt the energy when I came in the room, man. I was like, let me get live so I can pick it up a little bit around.
There you go. There you go.
A lot of going on. But I talked to you actually this weekend because I saw you at the volleyball game this weekend when Texas volleyball beat South Carolina, and I got
my shoulder out, man.
Oh yeah, Stevie. I told you I was unimpressed with the throw. Stevie was out there throwing T-shirts into the crowd. Unimpressed with the throw, man. I was up there in the stands. I was like, "Is Stevie go get over here?" No, it up into that second level there, pretty easy.
I just pretended like I was just tossing to the kids, and I was like, "No, that's just all I got."
Underhand, underhand. Okay, so I got a chance to hear your thoughts about Georgia, but tell the folks what you thought about the performance versus Georgia on the road.
Man, so I don't know if I told you this, but I had time to sleep on it, man. I think what we all missed the ball on is I'm just going to be optimistic. This was just our rebuilding year, right? We have a new quarterback. We had a new offensive line. We had new receivers and things like that. We're going to call this the rebuilding year. I think the people gave us that number one ranking too quick. They gave Arch Manning the Heisman too quick, and we're really looking at that we've rebuilt this year, and we better come out real strong next year. Can I say that? Is that okay to say?
It is. Just know that number one preseason ranking doesn't believe in a preseason or doesn't believe in a rebuilding year, nor would I say Texas would, right? And that's what happens when you stack back-to-back top 5 classes for 4 straight years.
Mhm.
You should be in a position to compete with Georgia in the NIL revenue sharing era every single year. And yes, Texas was young, Stevie. I'll give you that one. And it took some time for the offensive line to figure it out. But that also goes back to coaching. And that also goes back to knowing your personnel. And that also goes back to knowing what the strengths of your team were, which, 10 games in, I don't know if we can point to 5 right now that have been present throughout the entire year. So it's been frustrating, but I'm with you because, again, you start looking towards 2026, and I know you still got 2 games. You still have playoff hope. You need a lot to happen for that to even happen. But 2026 is shaping up to be a really experienced roster with a lot of talent on the roster.
Yeah. So, CJ, you always make it realistic for me, man. So, yeah.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. But
you got to be able to keep the roster. You got to be able to keep the roster.
I don't think
that's going to be an issue.
Yeah. I don't know if we have a problem with keeping the roster, though, Coach. I mean, maybe you're hearing something different. I mean, Austin is just a cool place, and they're getting money around here. So, but in the same breath, I just think that we did get outcoached. I think that Kirby Smart is living rent-free in Sark's head right now. And Sark is my guy. I still like him. I still like the staff that he's put together. But when you talk about somebody has somebody number, that's it right there. And y'all know that I love Mac Brown. That's my guy. He got me here. I've been here for 25 years because of Mac Brown. And but Bob Stoops had Coach Brown's number until towards the end. So that's just how it's been, like, trend wise at the University of Texas. There's a coach that got one of our coaches' number right now. So we got to break that trend some kind of way. But Kirby's on top right now. That's it.
No, you're right about that. There's no doubt about it. What are your thoughts about the injury? I don't know if you've heard to Anthony Hill. He's going to be dealing with an injury.
So they said out 2 to 3 weeks, something like that?
Well, Sark says he doesn't know. Sark says, we'll have to wait to see on the status of him, kind of injury. But
that's what he's supposed to say. So I heard 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, this is a business decision thing now, right?
It's a business decision, and I think that
first round pick, right?
I think that this decision, and I hate to say this because I am Texas football through and through, but I also business wise, you gotta shut it down. You gotta shut it down. You just gotta shut it down. It's about setting yourself up for generational wealth. And we played with someone that didn't shut it down when they should have shut it down. Right. And I'll keep that anonymous, but I wish that person would have shut it down when they were supposed to, and it would have been a different place than where they are in life right now, probably, So the business side of me telling these kids to shut it down when they can and need to, and don't get hurt anymore. Yeah. Because generational wealth is big. It's big, huge.
Yeah. Love it.
Stevie, I know a lot's been made about the running game, the lack thereof, the lack of committing to a running game. I showed Rod and Coach and Matthew a couple of numbers that I'll get into on the website tomorrow, but I wanted to mention them today. Where Texas has ranked nationally running the football since Sarkisian arrived, right? 26th, 36th, 25th. That's with 2 NFL running backs and a guy that went number 1 at the running back position. And then 71st and 103rd this year is where they sit now. It's an issue, obviously.
Yeah.
And to think that you need the number 1 running back in a draft class to be successful running the football is an issue. Give me your thoughts on the running game, and is it going to be remedied at any point?
Well, I'm a little confused because I don't know if you went to the media availability day.
Yep.
And Coach Sark said something that was a little bit disturbing to me. He said we didn't have an opportunity to run the ball.
Right.
Did you hear him say that?
Yep.
Yeah.
He said it after the game as well.
Yeah, we didn't have an opportunity. We got the damn ball. Run the ball. We don't get. What do you mean? They didn't give us an opportunity to run the ball. Just run the ball.
Yep.
Right? Like we rattled off 16-yard game, and then a couple. All we need at the University of Texas, we always pride ourselves on running the ball. It's 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and our running backs is going to fall for 2 yards, 2 more yards. We're going to get first downs by running the ball. And then he goes, we didn't have an opportunity. I'm still trying to figure out, what does he mean by that? Are we trying to do what the defense gives us? Or are we going to impose our own will on the football field? What do you mean by that? Tell me.
Yeah. And that makes me think he doesn't believe it. Because the way that answer went on, because I asked him the question, I said, you went from 150 rushing yards a year ago, that was top 5 in SEC play, in conference rushing yards, right? To now 71 yards, you're dead last by about 27 yards, actually, in conference play running the football. Why? How did we get to this point? And he basically told me, and this is my interpretation of the answer, that I don't trust the ability to gain yards, to put myself in a second and medium and third and short. He said, look, I feel like if I go run and I'm in third and whatever, do I feel like that one play throwing the football will get me past the sticks? Reading between the lines, I think he said, I'm sick of being in third and long after running the ball twice. I'm sick of wasting plays knowing that my offensive line is going to be a coin flip on if I get an immediate push. But to your point, Stevie, you had a 16-yard run on the first play of the game. You didn't have a 16-yard run against Georgia either time that you played them a year ago from a running back. You just didn't. And 33 yards on the opening drive from your running backs. You finished the game with 23. You absolutely abandoned it. You kicked it to the curb. You left it at the firehouse. It's a big concern for me. And it certainly won't get better this year. And unless something drastically happens next year, I'm still sitting here saying I don't think he's ready to buy into the fact that balance and what he hopes to be as a team is going to be there. So I don't know how it gets remedied.
I don't think he has, and he won't say it, but I'll say it for Sark. He's got no trust in that O-line. And why would you? Why would you? That's the reality. He's got no trust in that O-line. Every time they do something good, I think they surprise him. That's the reality of it.
Let me ask you this.
They gave up versus Georgia. Georgia didn't have a good pass rush. Y'all see Georgia's pass rush numbers? Sorry, Steve, I'm going to give you this real quick. Y'all see what Georgia got? Georgia got, not only had 3 sacks, they came in with, 11 sacks total?
Yeah.
They got 30 pressures, 23 quarterback hurries, 23 quarterback hurries. So basically half the damn pass attempts, Arch was hurt. So that's the pass protection. I don't think he's got any belief that they can actually run block really well either and impose their will. And I think that's so. Whether that's valid to him to be that insecure and not trust his O-line, that's a different discussion. I think it is because I've watched the O-line. I don't trust the O-line. I mean, I see some of y'all who picked Texas over Georgia. I was like, I can't pick Texas over Georgia because I see that O-line. I can't. I could not. What? You think that O-line gonna be Kirby Smart? Man, I always picked up by double digits, but I want to disrespect Texas like that. I mean,
let me ask a question, and this is just a question, and I'm just gonna throw this grenade and let y'all fight over it. Is Coach not trusting his offensive line, or is he not trusting his run designs against all these SEC fronts? Right, like being able to pick up blitzes and still slashing through and making 5-6 yards off of a run. Is it the play designs the run play designs that he has designed that are not getting through, or is it the offensive line? You know,
that's fair.
Yeah, so I'm putting it back on the coach. I think that these kids are playing hard or trying to play hard, and also, you know, the penalties. I put that back on the coach. Either you teaching it or you allowing it. All right. So right now we are the most, or what I thought I saw a stat that we are second to last in penalties.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Or how you say, second in the country. Yeah, something like that, man. And that you just cannot do that at the University of Texas. So it was a problem in the beginning of the season, and it has not been corrected all the way to the end of the season. I'm sorry, Coach Shipley. I'm putting that on the coach.
Hey, no, keeping it real. I like it. Okay, last question, because this is a topic we'll get into later on, because I want to play that audio of Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard threw something out there. Talk about throwing grenades out there and just walking away. Hypothetical. Let's say Texas does part ways with Sark. Who's your dream coach?
Let's play the game.
Shoot, man, it actually was Lane Kiffin for me, but it looks like LSU is going to lock that up real soon. I think that Lane Kiffin is a lock in for LSU to be their next coach. I do like him. I like his fiery attitude. But man, I don't know who's out there that can handle this job at the University of Texas. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know until you're in it.
Right.
Nobody knows until they in it. Trust me on that.
Did we go get Brian Kelly? No.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
on Texas basketball if that happens.
We can get Urban Meyer off the bench.
No,
I hear you. And you got to hold your breath, hold your nose, and hold your breath. But he's really good friends with Mac Brown. Mac Brown is back here in Texas. He's still very, very involved at the University of Texas. If something was to come around, Urban Meyer would be in the talk. Don't believe that.
I don't want to believe it.
Great. I don't want to believe it either. Hey, Stevie, we appreciate you taking the time as always. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the week, brother.
All right, man. Hook 'em, guys. See you later, Coach.
Thanks,
See you, Stevie.
Stevie joins us courtesy of our good friends at Hargrove Roofing with offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. They are the most pro-burnt orange roofing company out there. So if you have any concerns or questions about your roof, reach out to the professionals or leave it to the professionals at Hargrove Roofing, 512-645-3202. You actually can get a free roof inspection today if you reach out to our friends at Hargrove Roofing at hargroveroofing.com. All right, let's dive into Super Chats. Actually, let's dive into the Super Chats, and then we'll get to the Sark sound because we have some Sark audio I want to get you guys' thoughts on. But Jeff, with the first Super Chat, says, last year, Clemson was ranked 16 and Arizona State 12th going into the playoffs. We had a very easy draw last year. That's how we got to the semifinals. I think it was an easy draw. Yes, I mean, I guess it was a favorable one because that matchup against Clemson was a good matchup for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way you could spin it to look like that, right? And I could spin it the other way and say Texas had to beat the ACC champion and the Big 12 champion to move on to the semifinals, right? So it's all relative, but looking back, Clemson with all of their talent, what they've kind of turned that talent into this year, probably not a team that was very competitive. Obviously, Texas ran for the most yards I've ever seen in a Texas offense the last couple of years, and that then was quickly stopped by Arizona State, and you didn't have a run game. So, it's just the way that you phrase it. But
the run game was because Clemson couldn't stop what? The outside zone.
Outside zone.
If Texas goes off on you in the running game, it's because you couldn't stop the outside zone.
Which Texas A&M.
We'll see. Yeah, if Texas A&M can stop it. Remember, Oklahoma couldn't stop it. That's how they beat Oklahoma. Outside zone. That goes back to what Stevie was saying about Sark's scheme. And said, I don't know if it's diverse enough in the run game. It was diverse when they had Bijan and Rojo because Bijan and Rojo could run any damn thing. But now I don't know if he has those kind of backs. Jeff also, another super chat. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. He says, I'm a hypocrite. I was for a 12-team playoff. Now I'm for 16 teams. I'm for expanding the playoff. I don't care. Supersize it. Like it's America. Like just supersize the damn playoffs. Who cares? Like the cream will rise to the top. I know some people don't like it. They think, oh man, it's just you're watering down the product. I don't care about that. And even the pro leagues don't care about that either. They keep expanding the playoffs too.
You're gonna supersize it. Call it McPlayoff.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Well done. Like that, CJ. Well done. All right. Thank you for that, Jeff. Another super chat here from Ladarian Watson. We appreciate the super chat. Says, Rod, Coach, how would Mac make sure your teams were disciplined and ready to go with the right mindset at game time? That is good. Coach, I'm gonna throw that to you first. I mean, you're the coach here because Mac was, you know this better than I do, Rod, but Mac was the general manager, and he just tried to make sure everybody was right, and Mac was love to have player-led teams. Yep. And if you could prove to him that you had the leadership on the team
to take care of it, then he would let you take care of it. The times that he didn't have great leadership is the time that he struggled, because everybody used to always make fun of his clap all the time, on the sidelines, and that's all he did was just clap. But Mac was great at building leaders and teaching young men how to be leaders and take that upon themselves to lead the team in the locker room, to lead the team off the field, in the dorm, wherever you were. And if you don't have that, teams that struggled with Mac did not have that kind of leadership. And so that's what Mac Brown, am I right, Rod?
No, you just hit the nail. You nailed it, Coach. You nailed it. I literally said it, I said it right after in yesterday in the Sunday live stream. I think I mentioned it in the post game too. I think the team lacks a little bit of that player-led leadership you're talking about. That goes to, something CJ brought up kind of in that Florida game, that, where's the passion on the sideline when the team is down facing adversity? I think I saw Taff and Arch having a meeting.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Those are the two most Opie Cunningham. I mean, Opie, whatever his name was in Mayberry RFD. Richie Cunningham. I mean, they're howdy doody guys. They're great men. They're the kind of men you want to marry your daughters and have your grandkids and all that stuff. But they ain't dogs.
Coach,
you know what I mean? They're not going to be in a barroom brawl. They're not going to put their head on somebody's neck out on the curb. You know what I mean? That's what you got to have. You got to have Derek Johnson. You got to have Vince Young. You got to have Casey Studdard. You got to have these dogs leading it.
Mm-hmm. Coach, I had this conversation right after the game. Sorry to cut you off, but how do you find dogs in the NIL world where all these guys are getting paid? I look back and I hear the stories of guys who they needed to make the NFL if they were going to have any chance of having, a life beyond college, right? And that their family depended on it. They depended on it. That typically ends these days when they get to college because of how things are set up with NIL and rev share. How do you get the dogs out of those kids?
Well, why isn't Anthony Hill in there leading that thing? I mean, somebody that's a dog, that's an All-American that everybody respects. I'm not saying they don't respect Arch, and I'm not saying they don't respect Taft. They're great guys and great players. But like I said, in times like that, you look for guys that have been in a fist fight or two that everybody's a little bit scared of. Is that right, Rod? They got that edge about them, and people are going to follow them.
I played with so many guys that the top of my head, the Casey Hamptons, the Corey Reddens, the Derek Johnsons we played with. The Quinn Jammer had that too. Quinn Jammer had an edge to him. Like, are you playing with dudes? They just, you didn't want them. And this is the thing about football, because the peer accountability, you have to be playing well to call others out. Otherwise, you're just a hypocrite, and nobody respects you as in that locker room. Like I can't call out my teammates unless I'm playing at a really high level.
Yeah,
I'm making mistakes out there, mental errors and busting coverages. I'm gonna call out my teammates. They're gonna say, Robbie, I just saw you bust the coverage on film. You can't necessarily call me out. And that's what I think is happening on the team right now.
Yeah, Jamer still has that edge in him, and he let it know on
Twitter
this weekend.
I saw that tweet. No, Jammer always had the edge to him, man. When that was Jam secondary, it was an edgy secondary, man.
Yeah.
Everybody had to learn how to hit somebody in Jam secondary. No doubt. That's why Nathan Vasher fit right in, because he'd hit you too. But Coach is right about that. I agree with Coach. That Georgia's still getting them dogs in the NIL era. How they doing? They getting them. They paying them, but they ain't just casting checks. They hitting people, as Kirby said.
That's right.
That's the difference between talking about culture and having culture.
Hey, man,
that's a great point.
That was a hell of a statement by Kirby. I'm still thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rocky P, thank you for the super chat here. Says, why do the refs act like Sherlock Holmes when they ref us, but Helen Keller for the other team? We are struggling as it is. Don't need them piling on. I'm glad you pointed that out, Rocky. We are struggling. Texas is struggling as it is. The refs are not why you lost that game. It was, I think ref officiating is bad at every level of football. I watch a lot of football. It's bad. I don't know about high school level. So maybe coach, you might have to tell me at high school level is bad. It's really bad. It's bad in college and it's bad in the NFL. They're just bad. And they're bad in the NBA, from what I hear people watch. CJ, you watch a lot of NBA. They're bad in the NBA. I'm betting college basketball there. Give me a sport where the officials actually are really good and competent, competent and capable. They're all bad.
The best is tennis. And you know why? It's because they fully automated everything and they don't need any officials. So that's that answer.
Yeah. What Mac Brown used to always say, coach, players play, coaches coach, officials officiate. And that's why he puts the officials last, because it's on the players, number one, and the coaches, number two. That's how the game is decided. And Texas got outplayed and outcoached in that game. Did they get shafted by some calls? Certainly. But complaining about them calls after getting whipped that bad, it's a bad look.
Doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, bad look. Andrew with a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Andrew says, what do y'all think of Desmond Howard's comments? All right, I guess let's play can we just play the comments then? For those who have not, Matthew, is that possible? For those who have not heard what Desmond, there's always just got up this morning and chose violence for some reason. Got up and just wanted to drop this grenade of hyperbole and oh, here it is right here. Okay, so this is Desmond Howard, and this is what he posted on social media earlier this morning.
Happy Monday morning, everybody. I'm here taking out this garbage. Had a couple of thoughts. One is, man, I miss the Twins. But as I'm walking past this tennis ball in my yard, I was also thinking, don't be surprised if that Texas job opens up at the end of the season. You guys were shocked when LSU opened up. Imagine how you're going to feel if that job in Austin pops open. I'm not calling or saying anyone's going to get fired. Maybe a mutual parting of ways. You dig? Anyway, you guys have a...
Okay. All right. So he's trying to drop some hints too, like, oh, mutual parting of ways. I ain't saying anybody's going to get fired. So Desmond Howard's hearing some. All right. Desmond Howard's got sources, connections. People talk to Desmond Howard because Desmond Howard's one of the faces of college football. So I'm sure he's got sources and all this kind of stuff. To play the hypothetical game. Now, there's been an earlier report too, because remember, was it Diana Rossini? Was that the journalist, I believe, who put the report out there that, Sark's people would be interested in the NFL and that kind of thing. All right, that blew up. And then Sark had to refute it. His people had to refute it, all that kind of stuff. And now we got this report. Feels like something. Something's going on. Somebody's unhappy. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's weird that you get multiple reports like this coming out of Texas when you hadn't had anything like this previously.
No, it's very interesting, and it's funny that Desmond Howard starts by taking the trash out, right? And he somehow brought his garbage take with him, right? But ultimately, look, I mean, if you're Texas and this happens at Starkville the morning of a game, and then it's happening weeks later again from a different source on a different side of the college football NFL spectrum, it's got to be a concern, no? Where there's fire, there's smoke. For this to happen again, that's where I'm sitting, is there's definitely something to it that it keeps popping up. Otherwise, you would have never heard it again after the afternoon in Starkville. It would have been put to rest. You would have never heard another idea. And this is the way he puts it too, is it's a mutual parting of ways. Well, look, that's interesting, because if I'm Texas, I don't sign a guy for a 6-year extension and then say 1 year after a little bump in the roads, oh no, hey, I'm good with that 6-year extension. Go on ahead. I don't know. That to me tells me it's pretty more one-sided than a mutual parting of ways would indicate.
Just weird. Coach, your thoughts about it? Like I said, it's very strange. In fact, very strange the way he put it out there, and for, like I said, another, Sark leaving Texas report that comes from someone somewhat credible.
I don't put much stock in it, although I have a lot of respect for Desmond, and I think he's one of the best in the business. And he's connected as anybody, maybe Kirk Herbstreit included. But my point goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Who in the heck do you hire? Who are you going to hire? I mean, you're going to bring Mac Brown back? You're going to hire Urban Meyer? I mean, who are you going to hire? And they better have an NFL guy or something in their hip pocket that they're, if that's going to be the deal, because that's going to be the only job that somebody could leave to come in and be a splash hire is, and why would an NFL guy want to come and deal with recruiting and NIL, although the money is considerably more, there's no doubt about that. But yeah, we've had a few bumps in the road, and I'd say this, my thing, if I'm the athletic director and you feel like some changes need to be made, what's the first thing you do? You start firing coordinators, and so maybe CDC says, okay, you're going to have to hire an offensive coordinator. You're going to have to hire, and Sark says no. So then do you pay off Sark? I mean, how do you do that?
Speaking of CDC, he did comment on social media, reportedly, that this is news to me. Appreciate the insight, joking apparently with Desmond Howard. So, like I said, I'm with you. And hypothetically, let's throw it out there. Let's say it happens. I think we may have done this when the Diana Rossini report came out. I'm with Coach. Like, who do you hire? Play that game. Who's the first coach on your list that you make tell you no? Who's that? Because it's Texas. Everybody's going to answer the phone.
Everybody will answer the phone.
Everybody will take your call.
You have two things, two calls you make immediately. The first goes to Marcus Freeman. If you're happy in South Bend, if you're happy with your cakewalk to the playoff every year, I understand. The second is, hey, I'm calling Dan Lanning. And, hey, he's probably very happy with Phil Knight in his back pocket saying, hey, whatever you need, I got you.
I like that.
And I completely understand. But I make the two of them tell me no before anybody else, before I even look at anybody in the NFL, before I even start looking at anybody in the SEC to poach. And, look, I don't think even if Lane Kiffin hasn't taken an LSU or Florida job, he's not higher on the list than either of the two that I just mentioned. One just went to one just went to a national championship game with 3 draft picks. The other's been Oregon, who's been a mainstay in the college football playoff picture for the last several years. Again, Lane Kiffin's really interesting to me. I'd like to get y'all's thoughts here because, look, has he ever won a conference championship game? Has he ever made the college football playoff? And yet, I'm supposed to believe that that's the best option for any team that's open at the moment.
He's just instant offense. He's instant offense. You know his offense works. It works with you've seen it work and be an elite explosive offense with multiple quarterbacks in multiple places.
And unless you have infinite pockets to buy a defense out of the portal, it's not going to match. You're going to be looking like Mike Leach's offenses back at Texas Tech, right? That's who he is. That's why for years now I've been saying that I feel like a Lane Kiffin program is soft because that's the same level of guys in the trenches that allow big yards. They lose games that they certainly should not have, that they disappoint towards the back end of the year. And now he's the number one guy available. So it's interesting, but I would not call Lane if I was Texas.
Okay.
Hey, Rod, do you call Shanahan?
You can. Honestly, that's not bad considering what's happening right now. You can reach out, but like I said, I know for a fact that if he's fired from the 49ers, another NFL team would hire him. And he's an NFL guy, and he wouldn't even consider college, in my opinion, until he wins a Super Bowl and he's ready to retire or something like that. And I don't think he's ready to on that track yet. So it would be you can do it, but he's gonna tell you no. He's gonna turn it down. Yeah. He's got unfinished business. If he'd have won one of them Super Bowls or a couple, then maybe it'd be a different conversation. But I think the man's got unfinished business. But he might help you hire somebody, like a suggestion. I always like calling great coaches and asking who they'd hire. Like if Nick Saban was still in the game, I'd ask Nick Saban, like, hey, who would you hire? Call Mac Brown. Call Mac Brown and ask Mac Brown who he likes. I'll put Mac Brown on the committee to hire. I like Mac like that. All right. Let's thank another sponsor before we move on. Let's thank our friends over at South Point Dodge. Let's thank our friends at South Point Dodge. We appreciate them and their ongoing support of Orange Texas football. You can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends over at South Point Dodge. They have over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. Get the real deal today and drive away in the all-new Ram 1500, proven to last. Plus, you get employee incentive pricing. That's their fancy way of saying you get the employee discount with our friends over at South Point Dodge. Score big today at South Point Dodge. That's the real deal, and you won't find a better deal. Whether you need a car, truck, something new, something used, trade in. Our friends on South Point Dodge pride themselves on being Austin's automotive everything. So go see them off of I-35, or you can make it easy on yourself and go online at southpointdodge.com. All right, getting back to the super chats. Aloha Traveler, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it very much. Says there are players in the program that either by a lack of development or injury aren't cutting it as starters. O-line and running back rooms are ugly. As much as Sark needs to adjust, we need portal help here badly. Ooh, that's good. Coach, what are your thoughts?
I think that's exactly right. But the thing that is, the burr in my saddle is you knew that's the offensive line you had.
Yep.
You knew it, and you didn't get help.
Yeah.
And so either they're wearing rose-colored glasses or they're not. I mean, you can't take any chances. You've got to stack. You got to spend your money well, and if you don't have a good offensive line and if you don't have a good defensive line, does anything else really matter?
Mm-hmm.
You can't hide a defensive line and you can't hide a bad offensive line.
No.
Because if you have a bad defensive line, you ain't going to stop the run and you ain't going to get pressure on the quarterback. Okay? If you have a bad offensive line, it's the same thing. You're not going to have a running game and you can't protect the quarterback. And so it should have never gotten to this. That's my point. It shouldn't have got to the point where our corners are so we can't trust them. We got to play them 10 yards off. How did you get that way at the University of Texas?
I'm with you. I think the losses. I think I may have underestimated the losses of Janae Barron and Andrew McCouba. Like that's just the amount of football intelligence and the football IQ that you lost in that secondary. I think it's starting to show up. Things that we took for granted that defense was able to accomplish last year. You just don't see it. Like this, the Janae last year would read. His eyes were so good. I mean, half of his interceptions, he was the secondary help defender getting those interceptions. Right? Texas hasn't made that DB has not made a play on the ball in 3 games, guys. In 3 games, as a DB has made a play on the ball. Think about that. It's crazy.
Not good.
That's just, it's not good at all. All right, getting back to it. How about Bobby here? Bobby, thank you for the super chat. Seriously, how many well-compensated and well-thought of DCs besides PK can't coordinate their secondary at all? There is a disconnect, Bobby, right now. There's a disconnect between the coverage, all right, and the front. And that's what really you're supposed to coordinate the two, right? You coordinate your front with your coverages. And there's a disconnect right now. And I think it's mostly, I'm going to put it on obviously the coaches have to teach it, and the coaches need to make sure the guys are knowledgeable enough in the system. But like I said, I don't think the guys know where their help is a lot of the time. They if you look at their leverage, the way that they utilize leverage, to me, sometimes it's nonsensical. Like it doesn't match up with the coverage where your help is. I would also ask them, do you know the weakness of the coverage? Because every coverage has a weakness, especially based on the formation. Every coverage has do you know the weakness? Because the weakness of that coverage is probably what the offense is trying to exploit. And do you know the front call? Because it is important to know if it's a pressure, to know if they're dropping 3-4 guys from the front into coverage. If it's going to be a 6-man pressure or a 5-man pressure with guys like Anthony Hill and Colin Simmons on the D-line, they'll probably get home, know the ball's coming out quick, especially on like a 3rd and 8, 3rd and long situation, like you were in 3rd and 10 and you played 8 yards off and still backpedaled and you sent a blitz. PK sent the blitz. You would think that the guys on the back end would know if they're going to send a blitz, ball's got to come out quick. I can sit on some of these routes, especially once they pass the quick game. And you know they're not going to usually run a 15, 17-yard route when they just got to get 10. I mean, you can play the sticks. And I don't think the situational awareness right now is lacking for the guys.
Yeah. When I saw a 3rd and 10 completion for 11 yards right at the sticks, Rod, that's to your point. It's like, what were you thinking was going to happen there?
Yeah. Why are you defending? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think it's a confidence thing, and it's a thing. It seems like the strategy on the back end of our defense is just don't give up, keep everything in front of you. But when a guy catches the ball over the middle and doesn't have to break stride, you're probably not going to catch him. And if you do, it's going to be after a considerable gain. So I don't like that. Keep everything in front of you. Well, if you can't come up and make a tackle, and you're going to give them a minimum of 7 yards every pass just by your cushion, not to mention how soft our middle is, it's just that keeping everything in front of you is getting our butts beat.
Mm-hmm.
Make them earn it. Make them earn it.
I agree.
Do y'all think this could be an issue of having too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to
Could be.
how many coaches Texas has now in its secondary, whereas everybody's speaking a different language and trying to teach the same concept. I came across that idea recently, and it's starting to make more sense because what did you have previously, right? You just had Gideon and Joseph.
You did. Remember they brought in they had that guy coaching Nichols, though. I forget the coach's name for last year, though. That's what gave them the idea to have 3 coaches. Because remember, he worked out so well. I can't think of his name right now. My CTE is kicking in. But remember, and that's why they were like, oh, we should have kind of a star and nickel coach. So I don't disagree with you. But because now you got 3 new coaches in terms of working together. And I hope that they're all like aligned in terms of their communication and they all have the same message. And is
that Hazelton for you?
Huh?
Is Scotty Hazelton?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, CJ.
Yeah.
Yes. It was Scotty Hazelton. It was because Keno Hudson got hired. You're right. It was Scotty Hazelton. Thank you very much. And so I think they liked what happened there, and it worked out really well. But it's clear something's missing right now. All right, Greg with a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Says to beat a bully is to punch him in the mouth. The last time I saw our team mentally make another great team coach tap and say no mas was in 23 against Bama in the 4th quarter. We need that identity back. You're right. That's a great point. What's the last time Texas made a great team tap out like Georgia made Texas tap out?
I don't know.
It was that Bama game. I think he's right.
That's the luxury of playing Jalen Milroe.
He was easy to game plan for. Yeah. That team ended up being pretty good, though, because Saban's the GOAT. That's probably why it was. All right, KD35, I'm the best, says, why do we say Flood takes big humans? If so, stop going after 3 stars and bring in big maulers, 4- and 5-star playmakers, Kelvin Banks, junior types. Thoughts, CJ?
Kelvin Banks was a 5-star by every service. So that is where the 4 and the 5-star come from. Look, I'm with you, though, because there's something, too. If you go out and find the biggest body you can, you better make sure that big body can move like a little body. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with an offensive line that kind of look like this one, where your outside zone concepts can't work. Your ability to pull on counter isn't going to work. You're going to have offensive linemen falling all over themselves, and your offense isn't going to work. So, yeah, I think there needs to be a bit of a readjustment in the, philosophical approach to recruiting offensive linemen. Because look, going out and finding 360 pounds is great, but finding 360 pounds doesn't mean anything if no one's actually moving on the line of scrimmage. And I think Texas felt that a little bit this year.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that super chat. KD35, I'm the best. Yeah, there's people now, and like I said, Stevie's one of the folks that are questioning whether, Sark's scheme is fitting the personnel. And even you brought up kind of the running backs. Does Sark need a certain caliber of running back just to run his offense in terms of his run game?
Well, okay, on that point, Rod, how are you going to recruit running backs? How are you going to sign running backs out of the portal or whatever when it's the biggest game of the year and your backs touch the ball 10 times?
Yes.
How can you I mean, other coaches and programs will kill us in recruiting on that. You're going to go there and every back, all the backs they had only touched the ball 10 times on a handoff? Come on. I mean, nobody wants to go play in that offense.
I didn't think about that, Coach. You're right. That's fair. Marcus here with a super chat. Thank you, Marcus. We appreciate super chat here from Marcus. Says, do you guys see flaws in conditioning? We don't have the toughness even of the Tom Herman era. By the way, Tom Herman team did beat a Georgia team. And also, guys aren't coming back from injuries with the same explosiveness like other teams. It mentions Travion Henderson here. I will say that last year and the year before, I mean, your strength and conditioning program was getting a lot of love because guys not only were playing well and being developed at a high level, and that's why you went to the back-to-back college football playoffs, but your combine, really the guys at the combine, they really would also highlight the strength and conditioning program for Texas because those guys had such great outings and showings at the combine too. So I'm not going to go to the strength and conditioning program yet because I think we were just praising it like a year ago.
But he can only work with what he's got.
Oh, so fair.
You can't make a racehorse out of a mule. I mean, you can't. And so he's doing a good job, I think, with what he has to work with. But we just don't have the dogs that we need, for him to. And like I said, he can only do so much with what he has.
Yeah, I don't think it's a strength and conditioning thing. There's a reason why, the New York Jets was calling Torrey Becton's phone so often last year, right? They wanted him. Many NFL teams wanted him. And he's a big reason why this program is to where it is today, right? That defensive line, we talk about physicality. That is physicality. The number of fourth and goal, third and goal stands that they've had over the last 2 years, that's physicality. That's weight room. That's strength. The issue is you're just not seeing on the other side. To Coach's point, I don't think you got, the thoroughbreds.
Yeah. O-line is the issue. All right. How about this one thank you very much, from Samir. Thank you, Samir, for the super chat. I'm very concerned about Arkansas. Reminds me of what Iowa State followed by Kansas and now off the field smoke. This team is better, but have a bad feeling thoughts. Last time, and I think it was right before the game, when that Diner receiving report came out, they started real slow in that game. This Arkansas team, offensively, guys, I mean, it's one of the best offenses in the country.
Yeah. And
Taylor Green is a fantastic player. He really is. So if this Texas defense that I've watched the last couple of weeks, they can score on this Texas defense because they can score
easily
just because of the secondary. Now, the pass rush is going to be good. The rush defense is going to be good, but your secondary right now is a liability. And if I'm Arkansas, I'd come out throwing. I'm not going to come out running. I'm going to come out throwing against Texas, honestly.
Yeah, it's a different Arkansas team than a year ago when Texas held them to 10 in Fayetteville. But look, I'm with you, Rod. Why should they do anything else other than huck the ball down the field? And if not, look, you better make sure that if you're Texas that your pass rush lanes, keep to the plan, right? Because Taylor Green can take off and he can beat you with his legs very easily. This is going to be a high-scoring game, and it's going to be up to Texas to find points because otherwise this could be a game that falls off the wheel, or the wheels fall off pretty quickly for Texas, given the momentum currently, where things are, the noise around Sarkisian and everything else. What do you have to fight for if you're number 17 in the college football playoff and you got a top 5 team looming ahead?
Yeah. And guys just have a lot to – hopefully they're playing for the name on the front and the name on the back because now these guys are making money. They're playing for – right? They're playing for their value on the open market potentially, their value as a player on that roster. So hopefully these guys still play like they're inspired. Torrid717 says, what happens if we go 7-5, guys? That I would say there will be changes if Texas goes 7-5. I don't know to what extent and how drastic, but there will be changes.
Probably should be changes at 8-4.
Probably should be changes at 8-4. Yep. But 7-5, oh yeah. Then your boss will demand you make some changes. So yeah, because that would mean you underachieved. Ooh, yeah. And that goes back to that Kirk Bowles question that he asked Sark earlier today. Justin here with a super chat says some of the main issue for us has been lack of confidence for both the players and staff, along with Sark's offseason plan. Blowing up in his face, injuries, it's just been a rough one for us. But hook 'em. I like that, Justin. Yeah. I mean, but every team has these issues, right, Coach? If you go behind the scenes, every team's got injuries. Every team had a plan or a vision for how they were going to be. Georgia, same thing. I remember Georgia fans complaining about Bobo early on in the year. How terrible Bobo was. Fire Bobo. Bobo's horrible. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And then now you look at Georgia, they're getting better week to week. That's what's wrong with this team. Texas don't get better every week. There is no week to week improvement.
We had a week, and we had a week to prepare.
You had a week to prepare and still came out looking. Matter of fact, your worst games have been with an extra week to prepare.
Or a whole summer.
Oh, well said, TJ. Well said. All right, Lane. Thank you, Justin, for that. We appreciate it. Yeah, a lot going on. Lane here with a super chat said in Rod's interview with Santana Wilson, he said he played press every snap in high school. Not like we don't have guys who jam. Maybe next year you see some more press. I'll just say this, Lane. I have quotes, and I have them in my phone of Sark saying they want to be a press man team. He said a couple years ago, that's why he said that a couple of years ago in regards to them recruiting all these young, long, rangy, freakish DBs who play man, and I have not seen it come to fruition or materialize on the field. So either he was just making that up or lying, or the guys they recruited, they don't have trust in them. I don't know what's going on, but they have not necessarily become more of a press man coverage team. That has not happened. At all. All right, let's thank our friends at Culligan before we get ready to end our live stream. Thank you to Culligan. Says, when it comes to the water your family drinks and uses every day, you don't want to cut corners. That's why for over 90 years here in Austin, Culligan Ultra Pure has been serving the community for more than 60 years. Culligan Ultra Pure provides high quality residential water treatment at an affordable price, including reverse osmosis systems, water softeners, and UV purification lights. Whether your water comes from a well or municipal source, Culligan has the perfect treatment solution for your home. And right now, you can schedule a free water test and save up to $600 when you mention On Texas Football. Culligan Ultra Pure proudly serves Austin, Corpus Christi, Victoria, Brownwood, Pampa, and Plainview. So don't wait. Call Culligan Ultra Pure today at 512-339-2378. That's 512-339-2378 to schedule your free water analysis. And when you call that number, ask for Michael, friend over at Culligan. Michael's a member of the OTF family, so we appreciate him as well. So it's 512-339-2378 and ask for Michael over at Culligan. We appreciate them and all of their support, being part of the On Texas football family. All right, real quick before we end things, I do want to play this clip and get you guys' thoughts about Sark and what he had to say. He was asked a very interesting question by Kirk Bowles. Everybody knows Kirk Bowles. Some of y'all love him. Some of y'all hate him. I love me some Kirk Bowles. He was asked whether the team has underachieved. And here's Sark's response.
That's into who voted us number one. Okay. What I think is that this team has competed their tail off. They've been faced with a lot of different adversity and injuries, and a lot of stuff has come across this team's plate. And I'm very, very proud of them with their resiliency. At the end of the day, at the University of Texas, we're held to a very high standard. And the standard is to compete for championships year in and year out. And we're going to play the best teams in the country. We're going to schedule the best teams in the country. But by the end of the season, we'll play, of our 12 regular season opponents, 5 of those teams will be top 10 teams when we play them. So nearly half our schedule. And we have an opportunity at the end of the regular season to do something that nobody's done since 2019, and that's beat 3 top 10 ranked teams in the regular season. The last team to do that was LSU with Joe Burrow. So have we been faced with a pretty difficult schedule? Have we been faced with high expectations? Sure, but that's why we came here. So we'll be okay.
All right. What do you guys think of the response? I think it's not a bad response, but it could have been a better response. Probably should just say, you know what, we'll see ask me that at the end of the season.
That's exactly right. He skirted right around that,
Yeah.
He skirted right around it. And what do you expect him to say? Well, I mean, what you going to say? Yes, no. He can't say either one. That's why you got to skirt it.
Skirt it. Yeah, coach say skirt it. That's that coach. Got to skirt it. Yeah, skirt it would have been like, ask me when the season's over. And then when they ask at the end of the regular season, say, well, the season's not over. We got a bowl game. And then by the time they'll forget about it right there. So I got a kid now. You just push it down the line till they forget about it. That's what I would have done. Or just be real and say, the standard is the standard.
That's all he had to say.
Just say that.
Because guess what? That's what you're holding yourself against to right now is playing for a national championship, playing to get into the college football playoff. And for 2 years, you've sat there, been the only team in the country to go back-to-back college football playoffs. You put 25 guys in the league. You have 3 losses in 10 games this year. If that's not underachieving, I don't know what is. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be real. It's okay to also push off the question, say, hey, we still have a chance to achieve everything that we want to.
Yep.
But to say that, to who is it underachieving to? Your players, your fan base, to the entire country who voted you the number 1 team in the country coming into the year. It absolutely is an underachieving season so far.
Yeah.
And if you don't make the college football playoff, it is a failure of a season as well, given the standard that you set over the last 4 years of your tenure.
Boom. Could have said it better myself, CJ. Great way to end things. All right. Let's thank you to Matthew behind the scenes. So let's give Matthew some love. He's a real MVP. Nobody does it better. Thank you, CJ. Great stuff as always. We'll let you get back to that painful watching of the Cowboys, because I know
it's all right so far.
It's all right. All right, there you go. Coach, we appreciate all of your wisdom and levity. Nobody does it better. And thanks to each and every one of you for watching and for listening. Thank you guys for the super chats. Thanks for your participation. If we missed any of your questions, please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football bright and early tomorrow morning, Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton at 8:15. And tomorrow you'll have the 7:15 Tuesday night live stream with Amanda Atwell, our own CJ Vogel as well, and one and only Jeff Howell will be joining him for that live stream. For Coach and for CJ and for Matthew, I'm Mike Tom Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em.